Grace and peace, everybody. We are back. Happy Monday morning to you all. And sadly, we're going to start a conversation today that's not necessarily that exciting. And we're going to talk about these protests that have happened in Minnesota and how they now have gone, in my opinion, they've gone way out of bounds, way out of bounds. So I have a stacked deck. I'm waiting for my guests to come through. We're going to look at what happened up there in Minnesota, the alleged Renee Good protests that have now flooded into churches now. They're attacking churches. And I'm using the word attack. I'm not being hyperbole. So they're attacking churches now and such of that nature. So what I wanted to do today was have a couple of my guests come on, just introduce you to them if you don't know them already. Most of them, they've been on the channel before, friends of the channel. Y'all know these people. But also want to point out, we just kind of go through the wickedness that we saw and what their thoughts are on it. So with no further ado, let me go ahead and first I'll tap in Brother Kevin Briggins. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. What's going on?
Nothing much, man. Trying to stay out of trouble, man, like these people. What about you?
Man, trying, but probably gonna fail today on this live stream. We're gonna get in trouble.
We're gonna get well, you know what? I'm fine with that. If this is what getting in trouble is, if talking to people about why this behavior is inappropriate is getting in trouble, then I'm fine with that. I'm good with that. Sign me up for it. I know who else has also signed up for it. That's April Chapman. How are you, sister?
Good morning, brothers. How are you?
Good to see you. We got a lot to talk about today. I got a couple other guests that have not tapped in as of yet, and I'm gonna give them an opportunity. So what I'm gonna do something slightly different. I'm gonna bring in the actual article from the Associated Press and what they had to say about this. And if you're not familiar with what happened, everybody, stay tuned. We'll make sure you're fully dosed in on what actually happened. But yesterday, the protests that are happening and that are being fomented and allowed to just go on unfettered in Minnesota spilled over into a church. I don't even know what to say about this one. Department of Justice vows to press charges after activists disrupt church where Minnesota ICE official is a pastor. You want to start? Anybody want to just, before I read the article?
Yeah. Okay, wait, let me make sure I heard that correctly because I saw the video last night, but I'm not privy to this article. So is it saying that one of the ICE officials is a pastor?
He's
and the church
bivocational.
He's bivocational, and the church that they bum rushed, was that the same church?
That is correct.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Let me explain something to y'all.
Break it down to us.
The body of Christ. I don't know where we get this idea from that shampoo model Jesus is the one that we saw in scripture. We don't understand that the King of Glory, he is the one that's coming back with a sword in his mouth and fire in his eyes, and he's coming to judge his enemies. Now, when I invoke that kind of imagery, it's the same imagery that, I'm from the south side of the kingdom, okay? Where the Apostle Peter, he's ready to cut off Malchus's ear in case something pops off. This would not happen in my church, okay? First of all, too many of us are packing way too much heat. And the message is very clear that we are not the provocators. We don't provoke. We're not going to agitate. But if you roll up in our service, either we're going to preach the gospel to you and you're going to meet your maker in that moment because your heart's going to be regenerated and you're going to be made alive in Christ, or you're going to meet him on the other side of glory. If you think you're about to come into our church and disrupt our worship service, and after we tell you to leave, you get one time. You get one time, and then, you know what I'm saying? Like, we might just have to.
Let me help you out with that. Let me help you. We will either preach the gospel to you or preach your funeral. Because I'm telling you right now, you don't want that. Try that in the South.
Right.
Try that in the South.
Right.
That won't happen. That will happen in Minnesota. That'll happen up there in Detroit. That'll happen in New York. Don't come to the South trying that.
Right. Our
Don't do that.
elders,
And
I mean, Robert carries, I carry, so many of our elders carry. The moment they walked in, we would have all turned around like, oh, y'all trying to start something?
it wouldn't happen. So, but even worse than that, though, the fact that I think we need to have a discussion about how the position of the church in the community has been dumbed down to the point that this could happen at Kroger, this could happen at Starbucks, or this could happen at 123 church on the corner. Like, there's no difference. That's crazy work. We need to talk about how we've allowed the church to not be an elevated position or elevated place where you say, oh, you know what, that's at church. Okay, I'll leave you alone.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna let Kevin jump in, but the
Yeah.
reason why this was allowed, this is the fruit of MLK. This
Uh-oh.
is
Oh,
the-
April.
I
this
told you we was
is-
getting in trouble
Lord.
today. Didn't I tell you we was getting in trouble?
No.
I told
Oh,
you.
man.
because
Here,
it
hold on.
is. You had the office of pastor, elder, bishop was
Mhm.
reimagined when MLK made it popular to make the gospel of Jesus synonymous with this social justice foolishness.
Come on.
So now, fast forward to today, no one understands the purpose and the role of the church, the purpose and the role of what the pastor's supposed to be doing. And they think that this is being the hands and feet of Jesus
They
by
do.
speaking up for the marginalized and those who are oppressed.
And disrupting church. That's crazy. Disrupting church is what Jesus would do. Y'all crazy.
And the fact that the laity was not equipped to tell Don Lemon, you got us messed up.
Right.
You must thought that this is who we are. At that point, I saw a few interviews where they seemed very timid. They seemed very timid
yes.
and unwilling to speak on camera and say, this is who the church of the Lord Jesus is. Now, you are welcome to come here, but what you will not do is interrupt our ability to worship freely. We're about to escort you out. And if it escalates into violence, we are prepared to defend ourselves and the rest of the sheep here.
Facts and evidence. Because, I mean, there's children, there's women, there's elderly there. And we're going to talk about that because I see some young, able-bodied men who are sitting down. There's some young, able-bodied. Now, maybe they're not equipped to do something, but you got hands. Like, there's no way that
say, man, you was born equipped.
We can just go old school if we want to do that. But there's some able-bodied men. We'll see in the video clip, but I'm going to pull up the article and we'll check that out. I do have two other guests that are going to pop through, so I want to make sure they have time to see the video as well. So I'm gonna go through this article. Feel free to stop me, April or Kevin, wherever you want to, or whatnot like that. And so the U.S. Department of Justice said Sunday it's investigating a group of protesters in Minnesota who disrupted services at a church where a local official with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, apparently serves as a pastor, which is perfectly fine. Live stream video posted on Facebook. This is crazy. Listen to this sentence. Live stream video posted on the Facebook page of Black Lives Matters Minnesota. One of the protest organizers showed a group of people interrupting service at the city's church in St. Paul by chanting ICE out and justice for Renee Good, the 37-year-old mother of the three who was fatally shot by an ICE agent in Minnesota earlier this month amid a surge of federal immigration enforcement activities. Please, Kevin, what does Black Lives Matter has to do with a white woman defending an immigrant, a Hispanic man who was going to be arrested for doing bad things to children? What does that have to do with Black Lives Matter? I just need to know.
Yeah, because we know the name Black Lives Matter is a cover for Marxist social justice activity. That's all it is. It's a Marxist organization, has nothing to do with black people, but yet we still run around here supporting it like it is. It's an LGBTQ organization. It is just a like I say, a Marxist organization. And so, yeah, this is right up their alley.
That's crazy work.
Yeah, I mean, and they got to stay relevant. It hadn't been enough, black men shot and killed by the police for them to stay relevant. So they got to jump on
outsourcing.
something.
They're outsourcing the outrage. Okay.
Yeah.
No. This is their people.
Mm-hmm.
They are coming to the defense of their kind.
Yep.
In the Marxist paradigm, they just use race as a smokescreen. But it's the Marxists, the BLM Marxists are coming to the aid of one of theirs. It doesn't matter that Renee Good is a white woman. She was a Marxist communist agitator trained in the same worldview as them. So they're coming to protect their own and to defend their own. But the other thing I wanted to say is that what these individuals were doing by coming into this church, this is harassment. They are trying to intimidate this ICE officer who happens to serve bivocationally as a pastor. And the goal was to say, you may want to rethink your career choices. And now the target is on you and your parishioners. So
That's
now
crazy
the
work.
weak, the spiritually weak and the biblically anemic those of those at that church are now going to be fearful to come and gather, which means now they're going to violate scripture by saying,
Thanks.
forsake not the assembling of yourselves, which is the habit of some. And then it also forces us to disavow what the apostle Peter taught in First Peter. Like, listen, when this types of persecution comes upon you, do not be shocked. I'm paraphrasing. Don't be shocked or confused. We can count it all joy. Yes, we can. But at the same time, fat meat is still greasy. If you come in here thinking you're going to intimidate us and harass us, we will gladly usher you into the presence of the Lord one way or the other. It's going to be either through regeneration or you're going to be carried out by six. Pick a struggle.
Pick a struggle.
Yeah. One of those struggles ends in suffering for the cause of Christ and for righteousness' sake, and the other one is suffering because of your wicked deeds.
And these are some wicked deeds. The protesters allege that one of the church's pastors, David Eastwood, also leads a local ICE field office overseeing the operations that have involved violent tactics and illegal arrests. That's irrelevant. The person, that's his job. And again, just because you don't like it, that's not the duty and responsibility of the. If you don't like it, then you need to get those laws changed. But
that's
you don't
hyperbole.
go to people's.
That's hyperbole. These arrests have not been what they're alleging them to believe.
No, I agree 1,000%. But I'm just saying, like, we don't go to people's houses. And again, this is when people want to bring up some kind of trying to make some kind of equivocation between when the right responds to something like when Charlie Kirk died, but then how the left responds. Sir, ma'am, nobody's jobs was impacted. I got leftists that live all around me. They don't ever have to worry about it. They never worry. So no, this is not. We are not the same at all.
No, right. And I also add this. This is why ICE wear masks.
Facts.
This is exactly why they wear masks, for this, because these people are idiots. This for this type of foolishness. So I don't want to hear anything about the Gestapo and they wearing masks. Like, they're wearing masks because y'all are idiots.
Furthermore,
break it down.
Found out that the pastor here works for ICE unless either someone at the church tipped them off, or if they are purposely digging into the lives of these officers and doxing them and now going to where they are. So now if I'm a man, I'm like, wait a minute. Not only did you put my church attendees at risk, my family is at risk. You're impacting my livelihood and my ability to serve my country and make money. We can't, as American citizens, allow this to continue. And so I appreciate the U.S. Department of Justice stepping in and doing something about it, but they need to have not just strong rebuke. There needs to be consequences to this, because this is how Marxists do. They don't stop. They don't stop. They don't quit. They will keep pushing and keep agitating until you give in and give them what they want.
Yeah, I compare it to an adult tantrum.
Oh,
right,
hands down.
Right.
And that's all. And no, I will not give you what you want, because that just encourages the behavior. And the other way you deal with a tantrum is you beat folks behind. If it's a kid, you throw a tantrum, beating your behind.
Right.
So
that's what I was gonna say. A lot of people don't like and are probably gonna say, April, it sounds like you're advocating for a whole lot of aggression and violence. You would be right. At some point, it's going to come down to violence.
Yes.
And that might make you uncomfortable. But I am of the opinion that that is the only language that some people understand, and it should be a last resort. But it's probably going to come down to some violence.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I really want the president to implement the Insurrection Act on
Yes.
Minneapolis and just go in and take it over.
Yeah.
Because this is out of hand. This is beyond a sanctuary city. For those who don't know, a sanctuary city just means that local and state law enforcement aren't obligated to help the federal government execute immigration law, right? So the local police don't have to help ICE go get somebody. That's what a sanctuary city is. So if you're an illegal immigrant and a local police officer come upon you, there is no risk of you being arrested, right?
That's
They
crazy.
are not enforcing immigration laws. That's what a sanctuary city is.
Or
What
they
they
might arrest you, but they're not going to cooperate with the federal government to make that
True.
transfer of the apprehension of that criminal.
True, yeah. You get a DUI, you commit a crime, yeah, they'll arrest you, but they're not going to hand you over to ICE. They're not going to try to deport you. They're just going to treat you like anyone else. And it's really crazy because you have violent criminals who are illegal immigrants who these cities won't hand over to ICE.
Right.
It's just
Sex
nuts.
offenders.
Yeah. And I would say what they don't have the right to do is to interfere with ICE operations. They don't have a right to intervene and try to disrupt ICE. That's where they're going too far, and that's why I think the president should send the federal, the federal government should come in and just lock it down because they are actually being, like I said, it is an insurrection against the federal law.
One other thing I'd like to point out as a point of observation, every time, for the most part, that the Insurrection Act has either been threatened or used, it's always against Democrats. We don't have a rebellious faction on the right. The left is so bad that even in the 60s, when Kennedy had to invoke the Insurrection Act, it was against his own party because these mindless maggots are so evil and they are so wicked. All they know is rebellion and strife and chaos. And I need your audience, Jason, to understand that it's always the Democrats. It's always them. There's not been a time in history, except maybe one time during the Civil War, where the Insurrection Act has had to be invoked against Republicans.
Yeah. Yeah,
but every other time, right?
Yeah, and I was going to make the point that what you're saying in Minneapolis is the result of a godless, pagan, leftist, progressive city.
Atheism.
Right.
That's what it is. That is what it is. It has nothing to do with Christ. Is it loving your neighbor by trying to protect illegal immigrants? No, this is just pagan foolishness.
And keep in mind, how will this get better than what we have now? Please understand. Look at Minnesota and tell me how Minnesota will become civilized and become orderly and any of that stuff. How? It will never happen unless something changes. It will never the path it's on now is not to better laws or more law, no, or more restraint. No, it's going to get more and more crazy. Right. So let me pull this back in. Let's keep this going. The U.S. Department of Justice Assistant Attorney General said her agency is investigating federal civil rights violations by these people desecrating a house of worship and interfering with Christian worshipers. I just want to throw this in there. I don't like doing whataboutisms, but I guarantee you they would have already been boots on the ground if this had been a mosque. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. A house of worship is not a public forum for your protests. It's a space protected from exactly such acts of federal criminals and civil laws, she said on social media. I guarantee you, if it had been a mosque, you'd have been there already. But just saying,
now if it had been a mosque, they wouldn't have went in.
No,
that's a good point. That is a good point. That is even a better point.
Let in, and I'm trying to understand where were the Christian men inside that church that just allowed these jokers to come in and let them stay. They should have been physically apprehended and tossed out of that church.
At the door. They should have got in at the door. But let us continue. Attorney General Pam Bondi also weighed in on social media saying that any violations of federal law would be prosecuted. Nikia Levy Armstrong, who participated in the protests, that's crazy work, in the protests and leads the local grassroots civil rights organization Racial Justice Network, dismissed potential DOJ investigations as a sham and a distraction from federal agents' actions in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Wow. When you think about the federal government unleashing barbaric ICE agents, listen to this language. Listen to this bombastic language. When you think about the federal government unleashing barbaric ICE agents upon our community and all the harm that they have caused, to have someone serving as a pastor who oversees these ICE agents is almost unfathomable to me.
They are reframing the argument. They are creating a whole shareable narrative that sadly a lot of low IQ Americans are going to buy into and they are going to believe. And that's why platforms like what you and I and Center for Biblical Unity and all of us do, this is why what we do is so important. And at this point, we need to change the fact that we are out here creating content and, it might be providing extra income for us. At this point, this is a mission.
This is a mission.
This is
100%.
a work that I have solely committed myself to, and I believe in this work. Much of what we do, I believe, is gospel centered. But it's the implications of the gospel or the lack thereof is what has led us to this point. And we've got to use our platforms, not just to be entertaining, but to be transformative and educational.
I love how you said that. We need to be transformative and educational, because we have another brother who just hopped in. His platform is transformative and educational. Shout out to Alton Johnson. What's up, brother? How are you, man?
Grace of peace, grace of peace. How you guys doing this morning?
Good, man. Good to have Alton come through, man. And by the way, if the mods, could you please make sure that all of my guests, Kevin Briggins, the Center for Biblical Unity, Unshakable with April Chapman, and the Alton Johnson channel, if you can make sure their links are in the chat. If you all are not familiar with these men and women on the chat and on my panel, change that today. Make that your MLK Day resolution to change that and get to know some great content creators. Alton, thank you so much for jumping up in here. Y'all, hold on. I did you all an unservice. I did you a disservice because I didn't finish reading the rest of this sentence, and I'm a little bit disappointed because this is going to probably mess up the rest of the stream. What she said, it's unfathomable to me, said Armstrong, who added, she is an ordained reverend. This woman as a quote unquote ordained reverend, she believes it is appropriate to bum rush a church, disrupt the worship service because of something going on out in the streets.
Look,
Okay.
April already said it. This is the work of MLK. She thinks that's what a minister is.
That's
because of MLK. They've completely distorted what it means to be a pastor, what it means to be a Christian, what the gospel is. It is all social justice activism. That's all it is.
He made it permissible. You just gave me an idea for a video. I gotta
write it down. Go ahead, Alton. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now,
guys, what?
Now, didn't Jesus go into the temple and flip them tables over? I mean, we gotta look at this from all angles, y'all. Maybe that's what she was trying to do.
That's what she was trying to do. Let me tell you. Wait. I'm a little bit mad because I keep stopping and then I read more of it. I'm like, why did I stop? Like, this is actually crazier. Look at what she says right here. If people are more concerned about someone coming to a church on a Sunday and disrupting business as usual, what's business as usual in a church?
Worshiping Jesus.
That's not what they do there.
Right. But see, then they are about the atrocities that we are experiencing in our community. Then they need to check their theology and need to check their hearts, Alton. They need to flip them tables.
Alton.
Yes, ma'am.
I like what you said, and then what Jesus did is he went in the temple and flipped those tables. Can you explain to the audience the category error that was explained?
Yeah.
Like people really, they're gonna take that and they're gonna be like, you know what? He's got a point, not realizing that you were being sarcastic.
Yeah, I was don't listen when I say stuff. So sometimes you got to take it with a grain of salt, especially in a case like this, because people will take that analogy. And I'm surprised that, and I've only been listening for a few minutes. And to be honest, I'm not really, I saw a piece of Corey's live stream. He was documenting this, last night. So I'm only getting like bits and pieces of the story. But anyway,
I'm going to play the whole video. I have
Okay.
a whole clip in a minute. I was just
Okay,
waiting for
good.
everybody to get on. So
Gotcha.
you're in the right. You got on at the right time.
All right, good.
Okay.
So yeah, in a case, because you're probably going to hear this in all seriousness, that well, Jesus went into the church and he flipped over the tables with the money changers. What had happened was that during Jesus's time, people, um, by the time Jesus had come, the Jews were just basically just running amok. You know, the Pharisees, you know, all of the people, all of the people in Israel was just running amok. They were in the temples. They were deceiving people, defrauding people. I mean, just bringing whatever to the temple. They're not bringing their best flocks. They're not bringing, you know, all of the money required to give the sacrifices and stuff. And what had happened was that when Jesus went to the temple and he saw people just defrauding all of the folks who were going to the temple to worship the Lord, he got angry, and that's why he started flipping the tables, basically letting the people know, saying that you have turned my father's house into a den of thieves, because they was ripping the people off that were actually in there trying to worship Christ. So in this scenario, what these people did would kind of be equivalent to the people that were disrupting or trying to rip off the people who are really in there trying to worship the Lord.
Correct.
So I don't want people to, you know, think that, well, hey, you know, Jesus flipped over the money table, so maybe this is what these people were doing. No, they are actually out of order, and they would have been the people that Jesus would have been,
running out.
yeah,
Right.
he
They
would
were
have been whipping them. You know,
they're the pop-up shop. They ran up in there. They ran in there to disrupt. Versus
No, this is who
Right,
they are.
exactly.
This is who they are. I wrote an article on it about a year and a half ago. They're
tell
the
us what you wrote.
they're the zealots that Jesus rejected.
Fact.
Right.
That's what they are.
They
They're
wanted the
revolutionary
revolution against
zealots.
Rome. And Jesus is
Yes.
like, my kingdom is not of this world.
Yep.
Not one time did Jesus ever instruct his disciples or followers
Never.
to flip Rome and to make Rome the issue.
Yep.
In
Right.
fact, he had more smoke for the religious leaders of the day, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, saying, it's them jokers right there. That's your problem. Caesar, render what belongs to Caesar, but it's these hypocrites, these whitewashed tombs right here, they're the ones who are the problem.
Yep.
And let's keep in mind, Jesus died at the hands of Rome. So yeah, let's just keep that in mind. So let's bring this up. The website for St. Paul-based Cities Church lists David Eastwood as a pastor, and his personal information appears to match that of David Eastwood, identified in the court filings as acting director of the ICE St. Paul field office. Eastwood appeared alongside DHS Secretary Kristi Noem at the Minnesota press conference last October. Cities Church did not respond to a phone call or email request to comment Sunday evening, and Eastwood's personal information could not be immediately located. Can you imagine these lunatics are probably outside protesting at church right now? That church is not going to have any rest because of this. I pray God convicts their hearts, and that cooler heads prevail. And by cooler heads, I mean people stand guard at the church. But I mean they're gonna probably make this a thing.
Yeah, and I'm not
This
worried
is
about
crazy.
protest. I think the concern
yeah.
is safety of people, safety
That's
of
what I
this
meant, yes.
man, safety of his family. Because yeah, I mean, this is no different than like the Charlie Kirk shooter. These people get emboldened by this ideology, and they think that this violence, the proper response is violence, and they're justified in killing someone because this
crazy.
person is spreading hate or committing injustice. And yeah, that's what I would be concerned about. It's just some nut job, which is plenty of them in Minneapolis.
Oh, and it seemed like they got their fair share, and they're even busting them in. Somebody mentioned earlier, people coming in from out of state to participate in these protests. Like, that's crazy. Eastwood did not lead the part of the service that was live streamed, and it was unclear if he was present at the church on Sunday. On January 5th, court filings, Eastwood defended ICE's tactics in Minnesota, such as swapping license plates and spraying protesters with chemical irritants. He wrote that federal agents were experiencing increasing threats and aggravations, and crowd control devices such as flashbang grenades were important to protect against violent attacks. He testified that he was unaware of the agents knowingly targeting or retaliating against peaceful protests or legal observers with less lethal munitions and or crowd control devices.
And let's stop calling these people protesters.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and put that. Let's put
ain't-
that argument to bed.
Yeah.
In the year of our Lord, let's stop.
I think believers should be coming alongside this congregation and this pastor and his family and raising money for their security and their protection. Like, we're supposed to do good to all, but especially those in the household of faith. And right now, a brother in the Lord, I believe, needs our help. So whether that's local militia who's about that life, is like, hey, don't worry about it. We got you, pimping.
We got you.
Or, you know, there can be outside security that we trust, you know, bringing in resources. This is a war. This is a war. Like, I don't think we're taking this serious. Because I'm telling you, if to roll up to my church, it would be some slow singing and some flower bringing.
I'm trying to tell you.
I'm like, y'all better start a GoFundMe.
Right.
What you got, Alton? What?
Now, you know, it's just I want to remind people that the people that Jesus fought against the most were the folks who claimed to be followers of God. So these wasn't a bunch of pagans that he was fighting against.
Right.
So that's why it's very important that we have to understand that lines got to be drawn, and the only way that we know how to draw these lines is by staying into this and understanding this. And you know, stop listening to other people's opinions about what the church should be, because the same people that claim that they were following God are the same people that yell for Jesus to be crucified.
That's crazy work.
Right. So therefore, these people who ran up in this church, we know that they're not on the Lord's side, because if they were following the Bible, somebody would have pulled that pastor aside in private and said, hey, brother, this is what we found. Hey, maybe we need to try to see what's really going on here. We see that you're working for ICE, you know, whatever. There, you know, things have to, you know, happen in order, because we follow a God of order, not the way that these people are just running up in churches and disrupting services.
Let me also do something real quick. I really appreciate all of y'all tapping in, but I do think we might be a little bit too melanated up in here. I know I said melanated Avengers assemble.
Yeah,
I know I did say that, but every now and then we need to just kind of mix it up a little bit. We got the Ginger Avenger up in here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Look at us being inclusive.
We're being all inclusive. Don't let it be said that we're not all inclusive. Now,
good to be here.
If you don't, Joel, do you want to introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and the burden that you have?
I have the cross to bear of being Jason Whitaker's pastor.
Oh my gosh!
You know, this is what the Lord has called me to, and so I take up that cross as best I can. So. No, I'm delighted to have him. Delighted even more to have his wife and daughters be a part of our church. So they are a joy and a privilege.
Well, thank you, sir. All right. So we've been talking about the role of the church, and of course, we're reading this article of these protesters, these agitators attacking a church in Minnesota on yesterday. And just getting your feedback, your thoughts. Do you want to give any thoughts about it? I do have the video clip of it, and I'll pull that in a second. But do you have anything you want to say about that particular right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saddened by it. That's probably my first response in this sense of people, no doubt, perhaps thinking that they're doing what is right and good, at least enough to motivate them to go into a church and make a protest. But I think it's sad because it demonstrates a false worldview that too many have, and including all of us, really, in some ways. Whereas they are bringing in, thinking that they're trying to help, and really they're only adding to the chaos and the disorder. You know, one of the things of that we're called to do as Christians is to worship God. And that is not just a subset of our lives. I often try to tell our people that when we come into worship, we are not kind of putting life on hold and kind of doing our worship thing or doing our church thing. No, this is where the world is rightly oriented, where we actually have the right worldview with God upon his throne and we, his people, worshiping him. And so that is where life is rightly ordered. And so when we leave worship, we enter back into the disorder. We enter back into this world that is not rightly aligned, where we see all the time God on his throne and his creatures worshiping him. And so for these people to enter in and disrupt the rightly oriented worldview of worship, to bring in the disorder of this world and think that that is actually what is of most importance, is actually the opposite of the things that we are called to do, and thinking that that is more important than what those people were engaged in, that you know, that they should have been more focused on what's going on in the streets of Minneapolis than what's going on in the heavenly streets or the heavenly worship of God. And so that's just kind of, you know, as I think about it, that's the sadness that it brings my heart, because if these protesters really realized, hey, this is what the world actually needs. This is what the world needs the most, is for us to see life from this perspective of the all glorious God, that we should be falling on our knees and worshiping him. That's actually what's going to bring real order and peace to this world.
I love it. Well, thank you, sir. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the video clip. Now I got the whole team assembled. Let's go ahead and look at the clip. If you have not seen, yesterday, several agitators, dare I say just demonic people, attacked a church, live streamed it. So they were proud of this thing. And I found several clips of it to make a video montage. So let's go ahead and check it out. Hold on one second, because you got to move this out the way, Jason. Get rid of that. That's how you know this is a live show.
Today we had the honor to protest with Nikema Armstrong and the Racial Justice Network. Just like Jesus did, we went into that church and we flipped tables peacefully.
I'm just going to stop. Go ahead, whoever wants to.
Called it.
You did call it. You did call it. That's true. That man said he flipped tables like Jesus. So this is flipping tables like Jesus. Lord have mercy.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, I'm reminded 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 16 for this individual who claims to be a Christian, and he's following in the pattern of Jesus by going into the temple flipping tables. It says, live as people who are free, not using your freedom as a cover up for evil, but living as servants of God. They are improperly misrepresenting what Jesus was doing in the temple.
Fact.
And in fact, he's operating as an emissary of Satan, because if he was really of God, he would understand that the church is doing what they've been called and mandated to do, which is to gather for hearing the word of God preached, to participate in the sacraments, and to fellowship with other believers. Like, they're doing life as Jesus commanded. But what
Absolutely.
this gentleman is advocating for is the opposite.
No argument for me.
In your house, the trace of you want to get your house in order. That is correct.
Okay, I'm sorry. Every able-bodied man, I'm not trying to pick a fight. I'm not just trying to be fighting for fighting's sake. Every able-bodied man that watched these people walk in here and interrupt the church service needs to be ashamed of themselves.
Shameful.
Because there's some other ones that in the front, I'm like, how did y'all let these people literally stand in front of you, interrupting? And mind you, this is a faithful church. This is not some, happy clappy, skinny jeans and smoke machines church. This is a faithful church. I have their link up. It's pretty faithful. Kev is our resident Baptist right here. He said they legit.
Hey, if I move to Minneapolis, this is where I'm going to church, man.
Right. It's
Straight
on the
cowardice.
website.
Y'all, I'm telling
Right.
you, this is the cowardice. We keep assuming that Christianity, we bring our feet are prepared with the gospel of peace, but we are not a faith of non-aggression. There are times when Jesus empowered the disciples with a sword. Like, listen, you're going out in this world, you're going to disseminate my gospel, but don't be a fool. Get a sword too, if necessary.
Yeah.
It wasn't for just so they could stand there and look like men of valor. The sword was to be used to protect yourself if in the event, not you being the aggressor, but if you have to in retaliation to someone being aggressive toward you. The men in that church should be embarrassed for not standing up like, well, hold on, pimping, where you going? What is this? And we don't do this here. They should have been escorted out.
Right. There are women here, there are elders here, and of course there are children that you don't know what these people are going to do.
You don't.
You know what they've been doing out in the streets. How do you not know that they're going to come in here and firebomb your church or barricade the doors and do something crazy? Like, I'm sorry, sir. Like this young guy right here, sir, you should put your head down and repent. I'm sorry. There should not be, this is crazy work. Man, I'm gonna just have to start saying dudes. Like, what are we doing here?
Renee Good! Renee Good! Renee Good!
Those two right there with the steel gray, bluish color, they need to be ashamed of themselves.
Dude in the plane just sat down and folded his arms. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's just, I don't, you know what I got to say about that?
She belongs to the streets.
Wait, sorry, that's the wrong one. That was the wrong one. You know what that one was?
That one there was a violation. Personally, I wouldn't have it.
That's what I meant to say. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is crazy work, man. Here we go.
Idiot.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because they got black folk in here talking about some hands up, don't shoot. It was a white woman that was, I'm sorry, black folk, you can sit this one out. What in the world are we doing?
Oh my goodness. I try to be nice. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
Don't say it.
We are the dumbest people on the face of the earth. Hands up,
We're willful idiots, man.
Happen. How do you not know that didn't happen? That's a lie. That never happened in Ferguson, Missouri. Hands up, don't shoot. Mike Brown never happened.
Yeah, and it was.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it was black folks that actually were eyewitnesses that attested that it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
So yeah.
Oh my goodness. But this is what I'll say, because I want people to understand what is going on here. And I've talked about it before on our show. If you've seen our show, what is happening here? So Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto, and he had a co-author. Most people don't realize that he had a co-author. It was Frederick Engels.
Mm-hmm.
Frederick Engels and Marx were contemporaries of Charles Spurgeon, the greatest Baptist preacher ever lived. Absolutely. In London. And there's this game that kids used to play with each other, and they would ask them questions, and the other kid would have to answer the questions, right? Mm-hmm. And Engels' daughter played this game with him, and we have the copy of the paper today. And one of the questions she asked him, like, which individual do you despise the most or hate the most? And he responded with one word: Spurgeon. Marx and Engels hated Spurgeon. And that's why you get Marx talking about religion being the opioid of the masses, right? The fact that you are a Christian, the fact you have hope in something else prevents you from being a revolutionary. These people, what we're seeing today in our society is Marxist war against God.
Yep.
These people are Marxist. That's why they walk in that church and act that way. That is why they hate Christians. Marx hated Christians. Engels hated Christians. This is a spiritual war. Even those who pretend to be Christians but have adopted this idea that you can mix this social justice Marxist ideology with the Christian faith. Thank you, Dr. King. They are this is the war of our day.
Yeah.
This is the war of our day. This is Marxist war against God. And what you're seeing is people who have been indoctrinated with this Marxist worldview that is antithetical to a biblical worldview. And that is what we're seeing play out here. There is a biblical worldview versus a Marxist worldview. And that's the fight. And that's what you're witnessing here.
Yeah, churches need to be equipped to respond to this by being able to identify it and explain it to their congregation. They need to be like, listen, let me exegete what you just saw here. Yeah. And they need that historical context that Kevin just provided. And then they need real life application. How do we apologetically defend and respond? How do we respond to this? And instead of I love using the term Marxism and communism, but to drill it down and simplify it even more, we could just call it an anti-God, anti-Christian worldview.
Yeah.
People, like you said, are at war with God, and this is a smokeless war. And it does require preachers of the word who are going to have to get a backbone and who are going to have to be able to stand in their pulpits and explain in a gospel-centered way why this is a problem. People are not equipped. They just think that, oh, well, it's so unloving to turn away the orphan and the sojourner. And you're like, wait a minute. Let me parse through these categories because you're conflating things and the eyes of your understanding need to be open. Let me help you.
Let me also just say, I don't think that I agree. They should be able to exegete this, but they should have exited those people out of that building before they even got up in there. They should not have been able. They should never have been able to get in there and do that type of foolishness.
Well, the church clearly doesn't have a security team. Because that would have been the first thing the security team would have did.
The men are the security team.
The men, right? The men are the security team. Like now, it might not be like SEAL Team 8, and and you're
a man.
Like you're a dude. Like you come on. Like the fact. Okay, let's pull it back up. Come on, let's look. We walked past. These people walked past several men.
Big burly.
And that big dude with that big red plaid. He should have just. I'm gonna take one for the team. I'm gonna go back and visit my old high school days and tackle one of these rascals. Something should have happened, but they just walk in here, sunshine and rainbows. Now, I do believe that the ideology should be discussed and tackled after the human is tackled and taken out the door. They walked out. They came in, caused havoc, and walked out on their own volition. That should not have happened. In my opinion, that shouldn't have happened.
It shouldn't have.
They should have been met with some kind of pushback. I mean, again, I don't know if you need to give yourself a biblical name. Give yourself, Team Joshua. Team Habakkuk. I don't know, but you should not have allowed these men to just roll up in here. There are grown men in here. You don't know what those men were going to do. There are children. There are children that have come to worship with their families.
I'm gonna play. I'm not devil's advocate, but just
I'm gonna put you in timeout. I don't want to hear it. I'm gonna put you in timeout.
You gotta think there are women and children there, so you do have to think about if I escalate this to a fight, if I escalate this to a physical altercation, there are women and children here, and so there's more to think about than just I ain't gonna let these folks get away with this, and we go show them because there are women and children there. Right.
My husband would have gave me the signal. I would have grabbed the children. Here's the woman getting the children. We're out. Let the men handle this. We don't have time for this.
I agree, but that's why I said there's no security team because no one in there knew what to do when it happened.
Joel, let's go.
Yeah.
Break this up. I'm on Team April.
I'm of the order of the Apostle Peter, Joel.
I'm good.
I'm the one that's slicing Malchus's ear. Just so you know.
Man. That's I totally agree. The aspect of them being able to walk in there that freely is a little bit disturbing to say the least.
Right. What else could have happened? Like what else could have happened? I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
But I think I saw another video. I don't know if y'all saw that, but where they're calling them fake Christians, hypocrites.
I got the clip.
but it's it's very ironic that what are they doing? They're coming in with their cameras blazing to demonstrate all the things that they're doing. I think Jesus did say, don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. But they want to go in there and show how everybody else is a hypocrite, but they're the true justice seekers in all of this. And they want the world to know it. They want the world to know it. So I found that very ironic of how they can call out everybody else, but yeah, they couldn't call themselves out. Can't point the finger at self.
One more observation.
Rich,
they wanted
sure.
the optics. They wanted this to give the camera optics. So the church members should have said, "Oh, we're gonna give you some optics, all right. We are gonna show all of the cameras rolling, right? You're gonna get escorted right off the property. We're not gonna buy into your foolishness. You need to exit stage left." And what happens is if we continue to allow them to if you allow yourself to be subjugated, then you get what you deserve. At some point, you've got to teach these people. You got to teach them. They only speak one language, and sometimes you gotta be bilingual, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I agree right here. There's been entirely too many churches attacked because we've had a lull in it. But last year there were quite a few churches, literal churches that were attacked with a guy that burned the church. They ran his truck into the church. Let's shout out to the guy that rammed his truck into the church. It was the deacons that put that man that sent him to the Lord. Shout out to the deacons. Shout out to.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm shocked at how unprepared they were.
Right, and it was in. Where was it? Was it in Wisconsin? Somebody. It was in Minnesota. The church that got hit with the truck. The guy hit the.
Oh no, I don't know where that was.
It was somewhere. Somebody will tell me in the chat. But my point is to your point, Kevin, how unprepared people are is a little bit staggering. It's a little bit staggering that churches are allowing themselves to be open. I mean, they shouldn't have been able to get in that door like that.
No,
not like that. No, that shouldn't have happened. But. And I don't think nobody's talking about men fighting women. There were a lot of whole grown men that came up in there. Those whole grown men should have been met with whole grown men. The women probably wouldn't have had all the energy knowing that men were going to stop these men. That's just it. All right.
Nah, I would have punched one of them.
I'm with Kevin.
I would have hit one of them.
Oh, go ahead, Kev. Grown man.
Shame on you.
Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are your people? Why are you not at Whipple every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people? Where are you? You drink your coffee, you got your jewelry, you have your nice clothes, but what do you do? What do you do to stand for your Somali and Latino communities?
I can't say that I'd have been mad if that dude popped him in the mouth.
Dude, hands.
He could have just said, punched him in the mouth and put his Cash App on there, and I'll go ahead and drop him a couple bucks to get out of jail. You ain't insulting my wife like that, my dude. I'm sorry.
You are in the country illegally. No one has to stand up for you. Go home. A nation has a right to enforce its laws. This is not some oppression thing. This is not about you being marginalized. You are illegal. You are not supposed to be here. You snuck into the country or you stayed past your visa. You have broken our laws. Now law enforcement is at your door. You're not a victim. These are not the victims. Go home. And this is the thing. They're acting like they're rounding up these people for the gas chamber, like they're Jews. Like they're rounding you up to send you home.
Right.
That's it.
They stole billions from taxpayers. I mean, like what are we really talking about here? You know, it's so funny that at the beginning of Donald Trump's term, the second term, people were complaining, the cost of eggs is still up. The economy, everything hasn't turned around within the first 3 days of the presidency. Right. But, I got high taxes. Where do you think that a lot of that federal funding has been going to, which has been exposed over the past few months, over the past year. You know, and it's just like, no, we got to protect the people that's been making the economy bad. And I mean,
makes no sense.
It makes no sense. I think people just want to be outraged for whatever reason nowadays.
That's fair.
I'm not going to comment. You have no comment. Exactly.
I mean, there's. I'm looking at
kids crying. Nah,
four able-bodied humans right there. Right.
I would have laid some hands.
Renee Good. Renee Good.
Useful idiots.
We must love and support one another.
This is unacceptable. It's shameful.
Okay, so that was it. So now Don Lemon is going to prove to us exactly why Don Lemonhead deserves all the smoke that he gets. I am going to take all the restraint off of the panel. Anything that is said here between the five of us, it's just the five of us, not 239 that are watching the best live chat on the internet. Feel free to say whatever you want to say about Don Lemonhead, because I'm sorry, he deserves everything that y'all say. Let's go.
Yeah, it's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Not here.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus, because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world, is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here. Yes. Okay, that's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to chronicle what happened?
Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship. Yeah. We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you very much.
As you can see, all these pretend Christians.
Sorry. Feel free. Have them. You can have Don Lemonhead for lunch. Go.
I love that there how Don talks about, don't we have the Constitution and the free right of speech? Don, how about if a bunch of Christians went into an abortion clinic and did the same thing? Are you going to be there?
You throwing bows like that early in the morning?
Are you going to be there to say these people have the free speech and the constitutional right to protest what's taking place here?
Wow.
You're going to be there, Don. I'm sorry.
Joel coming up with a fist in the morning. Fist in the morning. Police at my door. Let's go.
I tell people, look, I'm not the smartest person in the world. Like Anton Daniels always tells me, I'm a C student. Like, you don't have to be really smart to understand the basics of what the Constitution is. Your free speech does not apply in a private church. That is not a public space. That is not you being on the street. You went into a church, someone else's property, and then you can't talk about freedom of speech. And like, that is just the dumb. We are the dumbest people on the face of the earth. Don Lemon is an idiot. He's an idiot. And this dude worked in journalism. He worked for CNN, and he has no understanding of the Constitution. Like, oh my goodness, man. It's just ridiculous. Go ahead, April, because I know you.
Listen, I would have come in. I love my brother in the Lord who tried to give a nice diplomatic interview to Don Lemon, but I would have rolled up in there with the spirit of John the Baptist. I'd have been like, listen here. Just like John told Herod, it is unlawful for you to have your brother's wife. I'd be like, this is unlawful for you to be here. Now, if you want to have a conversation about Christianity and the Christian faith, when are you going to repent and believe the gospel? Your lifestyle is offensive to a righteous and holy God. Right? Sin is all of our problems. Sin is my problem. Sin is your problem. Sin is the problem of all of these political agitators who have come here, who don't want to submit themselves under the scriptures that would admonish them to listen and obey to what Romans 13 says. If you want to talk about the Constitution, we can have a conversation about that. But that's not what this is, and you know it. And no, Jesus would not be okay with you being here. He would not. You don't get the right to hijack what you think my scriptures, the Holy Scriptures teach, and then manipulate it and try to weaponize it against me. Have you gone mad, sir? I love you enough to tell you the truth. I don't believe this pastor was prepared to make an apologetic defense, to defend the hope that's in him, and then to lovingly rebuke these people and to send them on their way. I believe you can do both and. I don't have to be a jerk. I agree. You don't need to be a jerk, but these people are lost and they need the gospel. But like I said, the Spirit of John the Baptist did this wonderfully. Yeah. He came preaching with much power, but with much smoke too. And the weak shampoo model Jesus paradigm motif, like I told y'all, I'm from the south side of the kingdom.
I got you. What you got, Alton? What you got?
Yeah, this was a bad look on Don Lemon's part, and I don't think that he realizes it. I really think that he's really that far gone to where he doesn't even realize that what he's doing is it shows more, or it makes Romans 1 that much more true. Like he is a living, walking, breathing example of Romans 1, starting at verse 18. You know, people who have just been given over to their passions and their lusts, and you know,
futility of mind.
Yeah. This is. I think that what he think that he's doing is that he's making a statement, and things are going to fall more in his direction. But I think that he really just put that church on the map in a positive way instead of a negative way. You know, this is going to hurt him more than it hurts the church.
Yeah. And I left the link for the church down in the description, as well as the AP article that we read through earlier, so you can see this is a faithful church. Now, I do think that I don't know if I would have been ready, April, either, to do all that, because I mean it's clear that they weren't ready for protests at all.
Right.
So I just don't crazy given their location.
But that's the point. That's why, like, Kevin and Monique and Krista need to be reaching out to that church and churches like it. Like, look, let us come in and train your people. The laity need to be equipped. They don't understand the arguments, and y'all don't understand the enemy that you are actually engaged with.
And so, though I agree with you, they're lacking that part. Let's just say that's, step 4 and 5. But I do think that he pointed out, like, this is not what church is for. Right. And I want to give him at least a little bit of a hat tip that he didn't, he wasn't sitting there like, why are you attacking me? He's saying, like, church is for worshiping Christ. This is what church is for. So at least he had his head screwed on tight in that regard. Again, I don't think most pastors, and Joel, feel free to tap in. If this happened at most churches, I hate to say, there's going to be a lot of pastors going to be caught flat-footed, not knowing what to do. Is that fair, Joel?
Yeah, I think that is fair. I mean, try to think if I was in that guy's shoes on what to say, how to say.
Have no fear. You would have been talking to EMTs. I can guarantee you that. You would have been talking to EMTs yesterday if that happened. I'm just going to tell you, I know for a fact, I feel very comfortable. You would have been talking to coroners, signing death certificates. That's what would have happened. I hate to say it.
Yeah, but I do appreciate the fact that he was, at least as they were trying to protest, he was not being silent and trying to tell them that they had no right to be there, which I think is right and appropriate. So, Jason, I'll say this, and then I'm gonna exit stage right today and let you all have this, finish it up, conclude it. But I think what we're seeing here is similar. On Sunday, yesterday, we're in the book of James at our church on Sunday morning, and talks about when we don't have wisdom from above, we become double-minded and unstable in all of our ways. And I don't know if you can see a better picture of instability when we don't have the wisdom of the Lord than what was pictured in these videos. And what's been going on. And so just want to say to all the listeners out there, this is why we read our scriptures and go to good Bible preaching and teaching churches, because we need wisdom from above, and we desperately need it. And we're grateful that in that passage it also says if we lack it, which we do, we should ask, and God will give it to us generously. And so that's my prayer, is that the Lord would give us wisdom from above and would give it generously. And I appreciate you all letting me come in, be a part of this, and keep spreading that truth, spreading that wisdom to the hearers and listeners out there, those that have ears to hear and eyes to see. So, well, I'm going to take off. I'm going to get back to
appreciate it, Joel.
Preparation.
Take care.
I appreciate you letting me lighten the conversation, quite literally.
Thanks so much, friend.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
You got it. All right. Okay. So now we're back to the Melanated Avengers. Shout out to the Melanated Avengers. I'm here to say,
Joel is like, why they like to fight so much?
They always fighting that, because he's gonna send me a text, be like, yo, are you sure about that April? Are you sure about her?
That's okay. But when something pop off, he gonna wish I was at Smyrna.
Oh no, let me tell you right now. He loves you. He loves you. Now that Kevin Bridges now. See, Alton stay low and quiet. That way he can you still can get invited to Pew Pew Presbyterian. But that doggone April and Kev, they in trouble.
Hey, you know, I intentionally didn't tell him I was Devin's co-host, because I didn't want to get Devin.
Right. You don't want to get Devin in trouble, right? Brought up on church discipline charges right now on Monday, on MLK Day. All right, let's finish this up. Y'all, this is so evil. So evil. If you just jumped in, by the way, shout out to the 275 that are in the live chat. We're watching clips from the church in Minnesota that was attacked by these BLM Marxist agitators, rioters, lawlessness on yesterday.
All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No! Jesus would dine with immigrants. Do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens.
Okay, there we go.
You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this attack on humanity? Where are you?
Attack on humanity.
You're sinners. You're pretending to be Christians. But we know you live an easy life, don't you? A very easy life while people are starving.
I hate to say this. I hate to say this. We need to go ahead. We need to have legal experts explain what is assault. Because if I punch you right now, if that guy right there with the tie and the sweater, if he had punched that guy in the mouth and drug him out of there, would he be arrested? That's all I need to make sure of. As long as he wouldn't have, then sir, please lay hands.
I'm not a legal expert, but the minute you walk in and invade a space like that, anything that happened to you is not assault.
Right. They trespass. And they were
trespass. As long as it's trespass, and I know it's trespass, sir, why did you not lay that man out when he was yelling at those young girls right there? Those young girls right.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No, I would. You're right. So this is my first time really seeing all the videos.
This is mine too.
Yeah. No, I would have snatched him up. Yeah.
I'm just like, that he should have been going out that way, not back toward the front. That's crazy work.
Ain't talking about folks starving.
What's that gonna do?
The folks running scams in Minneapolis.
This is a hostile.
Ain't nobody
takeover.
starving.
Right.
This was a hostile takeover inside of a church.
Crazy.
Where tools of Satan are disseminating lies. This man is just flat out lying, talking about those are your brothers and sisters. No, they're lawbreakers.
Right.
And they're skimming money off the top. This is like Kevin was saying, why prices are so high. In retail, you have this concept called shrinkage. Well, I would apply that same concept to what's happening with our tax dollars. This is the shrinkage, all of the leakage that's been going out, taking care of people who took our kindness for weakness. And they're also trying to heap condemnation on. This is where white guilt, if you're white and you've not learned how to defend yourself and to protect yourself from this type of verbal assault, The goal is to make you feel guilty for experiencing the promises and the blessings of God, because you've been a good steward and you've lived your life upright before the Lord, or just because in his
Make good decisions, right?
You've made good decisions and the Lord has chosen to bless the fruit of your labor. They want you to feel bad for that. And they want to steal and take from you and give to others who've not been good shepherds or stewards of what the Lord has given them. The idea that we're all supposed to be equal is not a biblical concept, right? But they want to use your whiteness as some sort of weapon to make you feel bad. And I've seen this happen a lot. That guilt starts to that spirit of condemnation will come upon you, and then you'll start feeling guilty, and then saying, I don't deserve. I am bad. It's like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, where they kept saying, what did they keep repeating to him? And he was just like, yeah, you're right. That is me. I am ugly.
I don't know. I don't.
Y'all see
I didn't know Disney had entered the chat. I'm sorry. I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't know. I gotta get up my Grimm's fairy tales. I'm sorry. Please don't get me. Don't get me. I'm sorry. I'm over here trying to figure this out.
But
this
April,
dude is a hunchback.
right. You're right, because one thing we know is the all these revolutions, they're always led by the children of the bourgeoisie, right?
Yep.
It's always the rich people who feel guilty.
Or
it's never,
or the losers who've not accomplished anything.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're jealous and covetous.
Yes.
They can't compete.
Yeah.
So they choose this as a profession.
Yeah.
Professional
and they think that protesting is what Jesus commanded. No, Jesus commanded you go feed the poor.
Right. That's why I said you go feed them.
Yeah. All these they think because they vote a certain way that they can pun this off to the government. And because they support certain government policies, that makes them righteous. Right. When reality is you support the government doing it so it doesn't have to bother you.
Good point.
It is. That's what they do.
They do.
Yeah.
All right, let's see how we go.
Hey! Out now!
Why is he still in there?
Out now!
That's just how I'm meant.
Those are some able-bodied
living real
men.
comfortable while the people starve. Living real comfortable while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're all living real comfortable, aren't you? Shame on you. Do something. Stand with the Somalis. Stand with the Latinos. Quit ignoring this injustice.
I would have shot him in the knee.
He wears a suit and tie.
You did what?
Shot him in the knee.
Shot him in the knee?
Yeah, in the knee.
Kev?
Yeah, I would have just shot him in the knee.
I think his shoulder needed to be put, and that's me. I would have put his shoulder out of place.
So I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna shoot him in the knee. I'm gonna talk to him while he's screaming.
Oh wow, okay.
And he hangs out with Kristi Noem. How is that a Christian? You're supposed to accept all immigrants, are you not?
Oh my goodness!
No.
Why are you not going down to Whipple and
about?
joining us in protest against this inhumanity? You claim to be a Christian. Act like one.
This is an operation that is secret, that they invited folks out.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere. They don't expect us to come there, and then we disrupt businesses.
It would have been your last pull up.
That'd have been your last pull up, because you'd be like, oh yeah, this. So I think every church needs to hear this section right here. And if you're not prepared next Sunday, then that's on you.
Jason, can you send me that video? I think I'm going to cover this on my channel.
You will have it. I'm going to send it to you right now.
Thank you.
This is the same thing that the Black Hebrew Israelites were doing.
That's a great point. Excellent point.
Show up. It's the same spirit.
At least they had enough nerve to stay outside.
Right.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Now, some of them were bold enough to come in, but most of them realized real quick that they needed to be lawful to stand outside.
Yeah, and I think that one of the Black Hebrew Israelite groups, they ran into a church, and the deacon and the pastor started to pull them things out, and I think that's when they started kind of like being like, oh no, we just need to stay outside from now on.
Telling you, Jesus in your heart, and your 9mm on your hip. I don't understand the problem.
Yeah,
they'll run into the wrong church, and it's not gonna go well.
Yo, we got to have this conversation, though, because this is really starting to bother me. April's already brought it up. It's MLK Day. We just got to talk about it, y'all. This is MLK. This is the legacy. This idea that these people think that this is the way in which you show your righteousness. This is the way in which you are a good Christian by protesting and agitating and like this is where Dr. King led us.
Yep.
Right? This is his legacy. And you want to say, what is Dr. King's legacy? It is this. It is Jesse Jackson. It is Al Sharpton. It is Raphael Warnock.
Bryant.
Yeah, it is all of them. That is his legacy. People say, well, if Dr. King was around today, we know he would be around today because we see it.
They'd be pushing him in a wheelchair right at these protests. He'd be right there front and center.
Look at the denomination he started, the Progressive National Baptist Convention. Just go to their website. Look at it.
What they do.
Look at what they do. This is it. It is all social justice activism. These are just leftist, Marxist, and I know Chad just had a debate with that's going to air today on Jason Whitlock channel. Look, man, I love Delano. I love what he does. He's totally wrong on this. Totally. Dr. King was a Marxist. And all I got to do is say this. This is how I know. He claimed he was an anti-capitalist, democratic socialist. What is that, y'all? Everybody knows what that is.
A Marxist.
Yeah.
It's a Marxist by a different name. It's splitting hairs. It's like Ma'am Dunn in New York saying, I'm a democratic socialist. And then you look at his policies and they're all it's just Marxist. Like, stop playing these word games. Dr. King was not a righteous man in the way he lived his life or in the way in what he believed in terms of his doctrine. The man was not a righteous man, and we have allowed his ideas and the legacy he left to shape us in a way that has sent us down this road to hell. It just has, because we have basically just made him the image of what it means to follow Jesus.
And please keep in mind,
the black church and the black community has been a mess ever since he stepped on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
You're 1,000% correct. And please understand, there's no way in the world you can tell me that you really truly believe that this behavior, what we just saw here and what we're about to finish watching, is Christ honoring. Like, how is Christ honored in this? And you're gonna point back to MLK. You're gonna point back to the civil rights movement, and then therein is the problem. That's the problem that Kevin's talking about. That's what got you here. Not following Christ, but following MLK and the civil rights movement got you here, off track and looking crazy. Talking about the clandestine pull-up association. Y'all gonna pull up on somebody. And the sad thing is, they're gonna pull up on somebody. Something is going to go south. A protest is going to get deleted, and it'll be a white person that does the deleting, and everybody going to be up in their arms, not about the fact that y'all sat there and ran up and trespassed in somebody's church.
Right.
And white Deacon John put one of their heads to bed. Yeah, y'all going to be upset about a white man killing a black man, and here we go again.
Yeah.
We need to follow the money. Somebody is paying for this, and I'd be interested in seeing what the money trail looks like. I am of the opinion that there are Democrat operatives that are funding this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They have to shield and take the attention away from all of the fraud and talk about these immigrants in the categories that they do. Because you don't understand, if ICE is successful and sends these people back, that is moving electoral votes, right? Mm-hmm. And the Democrats lose power because these immigrants are active. They are active participants in the election process. People don't believe that they are.
They are.
But they represent, these bodies represent votes, and those votes represent power for the left. And if ICE is successful in sending these people back, not only does the money spigot get turned off from the fraud, but the votes go with them too. And this is the Democrats' last ditch for a power grab.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting Trump wasn't supposed to survive Butler. And him surviving Butler got him in the office. And now they're like, all right, we got to pull out all the stops.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll say this too for people
Good
who
catch.
who don't understand why all of these sanctuary cities popped up in the first place.
Crazy work.
Yeah, so we do this census every 10 years. And so when they do a census to count the people, they do not just count citizens, they just count number of people.
Body.
And the number of people within a state determines that state's electoral college numbers and how many representatives they get in Congress, right? And in 2020, these blue states stacked their numbers with immigrants, right? And so they have way more representation in Congress and in the electoral college than they should. All right. So since 2020, everybody knows there's been an influx, an exodus away from blue states into red states.
Come on.
If the census was done today, before the last election, the one Trump won, Trump would have won the election without winning a single blue wall state. He would have had enough electoral college votes without carrying any one of those states. Now he won all of them, but he wouldn't have had to win them. And so when you look at the continuous demographic shifts, and if you look at the fact that if the immigrants get removed by 2030, when they redo the census, the blue states are going to be so they're going to be right. They're going to be so powerless because the lack of their numbers have gone down so much that the Republicans they're just going to run the country because there won't be enough congressional seats. There won't be enough. They won't be able to stop the presidential election because they won't have the electoral college votes. That is what this is all about.
Yep.
You know, and they're holding on, trying to use illegal immigrants to manipulate our own election processes.
Right.
So
we need to simplify it just like that. Ma, you muted her.
Yeah, you muted, Jay.
Sorry about that. Go ahead. I was going to say, let's go ahead and keep this going because I do want to finish this video. Just so you all can see what happened in Minnesota yesterday. May this not happen in any other churches. May we pray that they quash this foolishness in 4K with reckless abandon. This should never happen again. Let's go.
As usual.
So right now it's kind of mayhem. We're not part of the activists, but we're here just reporting on them. Did they explain to you why they're here?
They did not.
They said that there is someone here in Easterwood, who is a member of ICE, and he's a pastor of the church.
Our church had gathered for worship, which we do every Sunday. We asked them to leave, and they obviously have not left.
So this is what the First Amendment is about the freedom to protest.
There's varying array of...
But he's
an idiot.
Right, he's a plumb fool because, again, as Joel said, if they did this at a baby deletion mill, they wouldn't be. Don Lemon would be on the other side of that discussion.
Yeah,
he'd be on the get out, run them out, put them in jail discussion. Not this is what the First Amendment is about.
Yeah,
he sounds ridiculous, man.
It's the same mindset that he think he can be a sodomite and at the same time claim to be Christian.
Absolutely. All right, let's keep it dancing.
Views in this church on politics of immigration. Recognize the complexity of the issue.
This shows you just how divided America is. When you look at the protesters here, and then you look at the people there who are praying, and you know what was the interesting thing? If these two groups could just get together, they might figure out what to do.
I don't necessarily agree with everything that's going on.
Wait.
Yo, this guy is, oh my goodness.
Let me back it up. I want to give you
a reporter. He's not just there to cover it. He's there as part of the protest. He knew about it. He showed up with those people.
Right.
He getting shot in the kneecap too.
Because remember what the black lady said. She was just like, what is it, Operation Pull Up? Like we do this.
Nobody knows where we are. Yeah.
Know that we coming, but somehow Don Lemon knows that they're there.
You know, he's trying to be like the journalist in the war zone that wears the blue vest that says press. No, you getting shot, bro.
Yeah.
You're not just the press. You getting shot. You're a combatant.
Oh my goodness. He told us, well, how come these two groups just can't get along? Look, this is how divided America is. But these other people are invaders. They just showed up to disrupt the Sunday service.
Right.
And you want to talk about how divided America is? I mean, come on.
Go ahead.
America's not divided. I want to make that very clear. Oh, go ahead, April.
the sassy sodomite Don
Come on.
Lemon doesn't understand precisely how the First Amendment works. The First Amendment actually does protect 5 core freedoms: religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. But here's the problem. It does not grant people the right to say anything anywhere to anyone. Churches are considered privately owned property, governed by their own rules, protected spaces of worship. So, had this been a park, they would have been fine. Had this been some sort of limited or designated public forum, he would have been fine. But as a journalist, to assert that this is what, the First Amendment and free speech looks like indicates his ignorance. And the public needs to crush him on this. And I'm telling you, if Pam Bondi and the rest of the Department of Justice does not crack down on this, we're going to see more of this.
Yeah, real quick, April, what did you call? I just want to make sure we heard you clearly, just in case people didn't hear you. What did you call Don Lemon?
The sassy sodomite.
Okay, just want to make sure we heard that correctly. I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure that people can't breathe. If you can't breathe, want to make sure you still can't breathe.
Let me write that down.
Write that down. Write that down. Clip it. Let's go. All right, Don Lemon's a fool.
You know what was the interesting thing? If these two groups could just get together, they might figure out what to do.
I don't necessarily agree with everything that's going on in the Twin Cities right now, but I don't think it's good to fight fire with fire. I think it's good to speak up. I think it's good to protest, but I think it's better to do it in a peaceful way.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, to April's point earlier when Joel was on, churches do need to have meetings and talk with their congregation about this. It's not during the Sunday sermon time, Sunday school, Wednesday night Bible study. Y'all need to break that apart, because this guy right here undermined his whole position with the whole peaceful protest. And I'm not certain I disagree with everything going on. Sir, no, you should be completely rabid about what's going on in the Twin Cities. The Twin Cities is going to be lost if y'all don't do something real soon. The Twin Cities is going to be lost. It's going to be Twin City-istan. It's going to be over. It's going to be a wrap. So, no, you do need to have a position on this, and the position needs to be one of lawfulness, not lawlessness, but the church should be off limits to this, to April's point that she made earlier.
Yeah, this church and the other churches in that area right now, they need to be having some type of emergency meeting to say that, hey, this could be hitting our churches soon, or this particular church need to say, hey, they could be coming back. So what are we going to do to be prepared? And they need to, just like you say, there need to be some type of PR person for those churches to say, when these people show up, here's what to say, here's not what to say, or no one says anything. Don't even give them the footage. Let them if they want to talk to anyone, let them talk to these designated people, because just like you said, this kind of undermines what the position of the church is. Because see, they'll show this guy saying what he says, and clip that little piece where he says, well, I don't agree with what's going on in Minneapolis, but they won't show the other people that may have had another view, or who may have said something totally opposite of what he was saying that, no, yeah, we need to get the Somalis and the immigrants out. So they won't show that, but they'll show this guy to say, well, hey, how many people are sitting in your churches that really think like that? Maybe if the two sides was come together, maybe something could be worked out,
Notice they didn't play that clip where the pastor was telling Don Lemon that church is for worshiping Christ, and Don Lemon said, don't push me. They didn't play that part. That was somebody else's clip. Don Lemon didn't show that part. So it's just interesting.
Man, face with all his stinking breath. I mean, I'll be pushing you too. I'm like, man, watch out.
I'm about to put my hands on you. Go ahead.
And imagine walking up to someone else's church. Yeah, and then talking about don't push me. It's like the guy talking about don't touch me. Bro, you have been here. You came in.
You shouldn't be here.
You getting touched.
So there's hands on you.
Kev, you know why I'm not punching you right now? Because you're not here. You're not here. So therefore, me doing this isn't hurting you. So you shouldn't be here. If you're here and you're getting hit, guess what? You shouldn't be here.
And it's like I say, man, it's like, you're talking about the women and stuff. If you want to put yourself in that position, you just getting treated. You bold. You bold. And okay, then you getting drug out too.
Hey, I want to say this. Y'all ever seen that movie A Bronx Tale? Where the dudes where the biker gang went into the bar and they was harassing the guys. And the Italian guy, he just went and he locked the door because he said, I asked you guys to leave. Now you just can't leave.
Yeah.
That should have happened. Somebody should have went to the church doors and locked them and said, okay, y'all, we asked y'all to leave. Y'all don't want to leave. Now you can't leave. Now we can just go ahead and get it on.
Hey,
Listen,
I mean,
I'm ready to get up out of here, man. It was, man. Thank you, Jason, for allowing me on the panel.
Always,
man.
Alton. Always.
Yeah, and I'm still gonna be listening in the background. I just got to get some stuff done on MLK Day. All right.
I know, man. I know you got to go take down your MLK Day tree. I know.
My Alton.
All right, y'all take care.
Alton.
All right.
What I was gonna say is this is why discipleship and Christian apologetics is so important. I know Alton was saying that, maybe they should have only had a certain people designated to respond to this, or just told the congregation not to respond at all. No, I want the engagement. Let's have a dialogue. They would, and it's not to win the argument. I hope people don't understand. I know I come in hot a lot and I seem really aggressive and it's about winning the argument, but it isn't. We have to be equipped to defend our faith, but we have to be able to defend it in a real life application setting, meaning these issues of immigration and taxes and open borders and the economy. There is a biblical defense for all of this. Correct. But if you, one, don't know the scriptures, and then two, if churches are not training their people in righteousness and in apologetics, when they are actually encountered with situations like this, they're not going to know how to respond. Every Christian should be able to biblically explain the issue of the theology and the politics of immigration. I'll give you a resource that's going to help your audience. The center, Freedom Center at Liberty University. Virgil Walker writes for them, and I'm really good friends with Amy Sneed and Ryan Heffenbein there, and they produce these little pamphlets, these booklets on so many of these topics, and you can order them in packs of 10 and have them sent to your church. And I would encourage people to read them. Visit the Freedom Center over at Liberty University online, and it will lay out a biblical defense for immigration, for, they've got a variety of topics, and my church had them on display. And every time a new one would come out, I would grab it and I'd be like, this is so good. And the reason why this is important, because had those parishioners been equipped to answer biblically with this, the footage, they wouldn't have been able to use any of this footage because they would have been made to feel so stupid. Fact. Something as simple as combating or refuting this First Amendment constitutional right. This would have been easy to defend, and they were unable to do it.
Yeah. And to Alton's point, I would have been like Marvin Sapp, close the doors.
Right. Yep.
I said,
close the doors.
Close the doors.
Y'all want
that would have been,
work.
That's an opportunity for close the doors. Now that would have been a good one. Now, because close the doors, you know why you need to close the doors?
It's an evil world we live in.
It's an evil world we living in, people. There we go. All right. And let's keep this dance going because I want to finish this video up. I know, April, if you check the private chat, I sent you the link to it.
Oh, okay. How much time is left? Because I got to run myself.
Okay, get out of here. If you got to bounce, you can bounce.
I do. Okay, I love you guys. Love you with the
love you, girl.
Right,
Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
Oh, shoot. Where's the window? Oh, it's right in front of me. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. Shout out to April Chapman. Thank y'all so much for stopping through. Alton and April and Joel stopping through. Kev, you good?
Yeah, I'm good to about 30 more minutes.
Okay, let's get.
I think it's good to protest, but I think it's better to do it in a peaceful way.
Yeah, that was interesting to watch. This guy here, look, he's hugging his kid. And, I imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here. They think you lost and this didn't accomplish anything, and you went into their house, the house of the Lord.
The reality is the house of the Lord is a place where love lives. It's not a place where you can have a pastor masquerading as the director for the field office of ICE in St. Paul.
These people
the fact that she tried to reimagine and redefine what church is, that's gonna have to be studied by science.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It does. And because everybody wants to talk about the love of Jesus, but they don't realize when Jesus comes back, it's wrath.
Right. And please understand, you love something, but that does almost guarantee that you hate other things.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
please
it is
understand, right? There's not love. Again, these people just coming up with their own. This is like Calvin Ball, man. We're watching intergalactic Calvin Ball. Like, just stop it.
Because this is what I would say about immigration and immigrants. There is no country in the world that treats immigrants better than the United States.
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever. But at the same time, you got to respect the laws, right? And so if you're illegal, then you're going to get arrested and you're going to be sent home. That is not oppression. That is not unbiblical. That is not unjust. That is not unloving, right? It is. And so none of their categories, none of their arguments from a biblical perspective matter. They just don't.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Let's keep it going. Let's go. Shout out.
Come into our house, and they've interrupted our worship. This is a house of peace, and we try to proclaim that. And this stirs division and rancor. And in the end, it's not helpful. Ultimately, I believe they've lost. They've emptied a house of worship. Everybody's gone home. Their point has been proven worthless. And so, in the end, I think they lose. But more importantly, if I was to break into any of their houses uninvited, cause derision and upset according to their values, I would be kicked out ultimately. It's not a good way. I feel violated. I feel interrupted. I feel angry.
May I ask you something? When you were saying if you had showed up at their house, they're saying that people are showing up at houses where they're citizens or without due process and breaking and entering the house. One that we saw, I've been watching from New York, with a battering ram into someone's private property, and there's no recourse.
What's that got to do with coming to church though? Like that is,
and it's the thing, they don't.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's just stupidity again. What do you mean due process? Getting arrested is not a lack of due process. You're getting arrested.
Fact. Right. That's the first part of the process.
Yes.
That's due. These people are retarded, man. I'm so sorry, man. The sassy sodomite is really getting on my nerve.
No, you understand what I'm saying?
This is all part of a much larger dialogue, in my opinion. On one side are people who watched a previous administration bring 12 million people in over the course of 4 years, and many of them undocumented, many of them criminals, etc. This is another administration's corrective. Now, whether you agree with the policies or procedures,
not one African, not one Latino, not one person that could possibly be a part of the community that ICE is rounding up walked out that door.
I think I could actually be sympathetic to some of the things where they're habit in.
Yeah.
Maybe. Sorry.
Challenges to and decency. At the same time, these are what are called targeted interventions by ICE to keep the American people safe.
If I respectfully may interject here, I've been out reporting on a lot of these, and they're not targeted. There are no warrants signed by a judge, let me finish. And they're American citizens, many of them. Most of the people that they detain don't have criminal convictions or criminal records.
I'm not going to get into the weeds.
But you should know that, though. Don't you think that's part of it?
Yes, and I could
criminal
also.
act is entering the country legally. That's the criminal act. You don't have to commit another criminal act on top of it.
Correct. But even more than that, why is that? What's that going to do with? How are you trying to adjudicate that with some man standing in the foyer of a church that y'all just raided and desecrated? Like, what are we talking about?
Because they're trying to justify. He's trying to justify it.
That's it. Sodomite behavior.
Show you many opposing sides where we're also picking up the very criminals that have put Americans in danger and I'm not saying it's pretty. I'm not saying it's not messy. I'm not saying it couldn't be better. I'm saying this is a part of a much larger dialogue in which one administration caused a great deal of chaos and havoc and danger for American citizens, and another is trying to correct that.
Do you believe that? Why honestly,
Okay.
let me talk to you
Listen,
just on the
you're not
facts.
a journalist.
Yes, I am. I want to give you the facts.
No.
Did you know that undocumented people and immigrants commit far less crime than American citizens?
We're done here. We're done here.
Than natural-born Americans? You won't listen.
If you could ask,
I'm giving you the facts.
That's not the point, John.
Give me facts, I would have a conversation.
But I can respond to you.
No, we're done.
Did Jesus stand with the oppressed?
Because he doesn't want to listen to facts.
That's the point, John.
That's the interesting thing about this, is that they won't listen to facts.
No.
You won't, because
when you pose as a journalist,
I am a journalist. Journalists give facts.
And then you start correcting me with facts, and don't have.
You shouldn't hear the facts.
Of course, I should
most
hear
of the people
facts.
who are picked up
but
are
will you
not.
give me the facts on both sides?
That is the facts on both sides. Most of the people who are picked up and are detained are.
Isn't it funny that Don Lemon really got a hankering for this guy? That clearly, like, go talk to somebody else. Like, why is Don Lemon? Why is this guy like you got the hots for him? Like, dude, go talk to somebody else.
Man, Don is just there to make content.
That's all.
That's it.
I hope, man. Yeah, I hope he gets that Candace Owens treatment.
Not convict. They have no criminal convictions. They have no criminal record.
See,
none.
Who is that guy following?
That immigrants commit far less crime than native-born Americans. So they won't listen to the facts. Anyways, these folks are still out here. So you can see the protesters here have gathered over here. They're in the middle of the church. So in the beginning of the church service, the pastor was speaking, and Nakima stood up and said her piece, and then the protesters surrounded her. But this is a clandestine mission. I think they found out according to them, this is according to Operation Pull-Up, that one of the pastors here is a member of ICE. And so here we go.
You could talk to the lead pastor.
Yeah.
Let me show you.
Okay. And so you heard what some of the folks said in there, that this is, they shouldn't be there, and, they shouldn't be uncomfortable, and this is our house and whatever. That's what protesting is about, is to make people uncomfortable. You may not like it, but I mean, if they went into a church, any church, take you outside of the church and just show you.
I wish they hadn't cut that part. I want to know what I want to know what his logical argument would have been that they can continue to do this in churches.
It's just active. It's the activist mindset that people of privilege have to be uncomfortable, and that is how you bring change. It's like, it is so self-righteous, full of yourself, right? To think that you have the right to, quote unquote, make people uncomfortable as a way to bring about the end goal in which you want, right? This is just political activist tactics. And you try to make me feel uncomfortable, I'm going to make you not feel nothing, because you're going to be gone. Because
real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm going to say we're going to get done with this, because apparently on X, he announces that he was, I think you had mentioned before, like Don Lemon knew about it. How did Don Lemon know about it? And on X, he actually, the beginning of it, he does say that he was aware of
he came
of
with
the operation. Yeah,
yes,
so
he's a part of it.
He's a part of the protest.
Yes, he's saying he's there
not
to document what's happening. He's not a journalist. No, bro, you part of the protest.
Yeah,
but it's like I said, man, you cannot reward or allow bad behavior, or you get more of it. Someone should have punched them in the face and say, show up to another one, right? You have to make these people pay, because they're emboldened. They take advantage of your niceness. They take advantage of your kindness, right? And so, no, I'm gonna end it here, because you're not gonna do this to someone else, right?
Facts.
And think that it's okay, you can just get away with it. No, you messed around and you found out.
They're gonna find out. Let's go
a little bit, but that was interesting to watch. This guy here, look, he's hugging his kid, and I imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here, but again, careful, it's very slippery right here. It's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here, but that's what really, careful, please, really slippery, not kidding. That's
Maybe
what
you shouldn't be there.
protesting is about. And so,
No,
Today
that's not
in
what protesting is
Minneapolis,
about.
Minnesota, a group of activists led by Don Lemon stormed a Baptist church by the name of Cities Church during their worship time. They were screaming and chanting, disrupting the singing and the preaching because they suspected an ICE officer may attend the church. This is a violation of what is known as the FACE Act, and not only do we condemn this act, but tonight I want to demand that the Department of Justice investigate what took place in Minneapolis, apprehend those who broke the law, and arrest them accordingly.
I agree.
We must protect religious liberty in this country. As people meet to worship God, they have been given legally the right to enter, to worship, and to leave their place of worship. The Lord Jesus said, "In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world." I have preached for many years that there will come a time when we'll find out who are Christians by label and by convenience, and who are Christians by conviction. And certainly we're entering those days now. I believe we should pray for this congregation, and we should be vigilant as Christians to exercise our freedom, to worship our Savior, and to stand unashamed for the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I might add as a subnote that we welcome all branches of law enforcement to Lancaster Baptist Church. And so let us pause before we begin tonight and have a word of prayer and ask the Lord to bless and to meet the needs in this situation.
Oh, sorry. President Donald Trump will not tolerate the intimidation and harassment of Christians in their sacred places of worship. The Department of Justice has launched a full investigation into the despicable incident that took place earlier today at the church in Minnesota. Okay. All right, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to see it happen though.
Yeah, but this idea that it is okay to make certain people uncomfortable. We went through this whole thing with BLM or this whole thing about trying to put this critical race theory stuff in schools. And the whole argument was, well, white kids need to be uncomfortable.
That's crazy.
Right. This ideology is just out of control. And someone needs to put a stop to it. Because they're clearly emboldened. They are clearly emboldened.
Right.
To walk into a church and do that is just unacceptable.
Yeah, let's keep it going. I want Don Lemon dragged out of his house by a SWAT team at gunpoint. That's what Biden did to pro-lifers. Time to make these scumbags play by the same rules. Force feed them the dose of their own medicine for once. Shout out to Matt Walsh. I can't disagree. I cannot disagree. Yeah, that was a good catch. I think there's like two more.
Administration and the fake news magas are losing their mind over something that's not even true. So let me just make it clear, because this a assistant attorney general, I don't know, gosh, what's her name? Something Hammett, Gillen or whatever. So I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests.
Make sure you follow. Oh yeah, because I'm about to pull up a clip. I don't know. Follow it. Make sure you pay attention.
Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization. That's it. It's called journalism. First Amendment, all that stuff. For all of you people who believe in the First Amendment, absolutist, there you go. So why don't you talk to the actual person who is in charge of the organization and whose idea it was to have the protests at the church before you start blaming me for stuff for which you have no idea. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Fake right-wing propaganda news alert from this supposed right-angle news network, supposed network, that I led a protest into a church this morning in Minneapolis. That is complete BS. First of all, I had no idea who the organization was until I arrived this morning. And number two, that's what every journalist should be doing, exactly what I did. What I did was report, chronicle, and commit an act of journalism, which is what every journalist should be doing. That's what happened. So if you really want to know the truth about what happened, why don't you check it out at the Don Lemon Show on YouTube, on Substack, and on Twitch. And follow us on any of our socials if you really want to know the truth, rather than getting some right-wing propaganda from a so-called news network.
Oh, wait. Whoa.
Oh, wow. What?
Tell us. Dang, Dickie. Tell us what you really think. Wow. All right. That was the end of that. Shout out for sure. Kev, give me your last little points. I'm gonna pull up his ex interview where he kind of contradicts what he's saying here, but go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I know, we've been joking a lot and saying a lot of hyperbole and stuff like that, but this is unacceptable. This is
1000%.
unacceptable. And these people are so messed up. They're so lost. You can't reason with them. You can't talk to them. It's like the pastor said, you can't talk. There's no talking.
Yeah.
And these people believe they're justified in their anger. They think they have righteous anger. When in reality is these are people who have been indoctrinated into Marxist ideology, and they have confused that with the gospel. And a lot of it has to do with the person who is being celebrated today, MLK Day. This is Dr. King's legacy. He has confused the church on what it means to be a Christian, what it means to follow Jesus, this idea of social gospel. And then you take it to a level where you combine it with critical theory, and you simply make every group in a situation oppressed or marginalized based on the level of privilege or how far close they are to power, privilege and power. Like, yeah, that is not the gospel. That is not the biblical definition of oppressed. And an illegal immigrant who is in a country illegally is not a victim and is not oppressed because law enforcement is arresting them and deporting them. You're not a victim.
Not a victim. Here, we're going to pull this in and just see what he has to say, and then we're going to get ready to get up out of here. All right, so this is Don Lemon, the intro to his live stream yesterday. And somebody asked, yes, he was a part of the group that, I'm going to say it, he was a part of the group that assaulted and attacked a church in Minnesota.
In Minneapolis a little bit ago, and did some reconnaissance on the ground, speaking to an organization there that's gearing up for resistance and protest. I've been pleasantly surprised to see the community coming together. Diverse community. If you see this, when we first pulled up, we're like, wait a minute, which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we were like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? Saw the American flag or whatever, but these are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up.
So he knew where they were going. So he's aware. Okay, just want to make sure I had it right.
And it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, can't tell you where they're going.
Okay, so clearly he knew where he was going. He was in on the take. He was in.
They weren't even at the church, so he knew.
They weren't. Yeah. So he can't say that he just followed them and just rolled up on them and said, "Oh, surprise! There's a protest." No, you were a part of the protest, so you already knew where they were going.
His whole demeanor, his line of questioning, everything. The fact that he praised this group in his intro, he just praised them for what they do.
Yeah,
he's a part of it. Yeah, and so. Don't you think it's very ironic?
We'll be shouting,
yeah,
the initials for his show and on his microphone.
that is very appropriate. Very appropriate.
So that this is
But Kev, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you. By the way, do you have that link that April mentioned. She went off on that really quick, and the mods weren't able.
Yeah, I
to
saw
catch
someone asking. I know it's Liberty University, and it's something freedom something.
Right.
Let me see. University Freedom Center, Freedom Center, Liberty University Freedom Center. Yeah.
Okay. And let me. I found it. I think I did. Here it is. Yep. This is it. I'm gonna drop the link. I don't know what it is that we're finding.
Yeah, she said they have like these pamphlets. They put together like these small pamphlets on particular issues, and you can buy them like in bulk, like 10 at a time, whatever, like small little pamphlets. And she was saying that you can, put those things in your church or hand them out to people.
I'll make sure it's in the description. I think this is it. This might be. I think this is a fundraiser.
That's a fundraiser. Yeah. No,
it's a fundraiser day. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's a. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I found the same link. That's a weird. Yeah.
Okay.
But if you go to the link you gave and click on home, it'll take you. Oh, that's still their Giving Day page.
It's still a Giving Day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. April be talking so fast sometimes. Love my girl. That's my girl. Don't y'all be picking on my girl.
Yeah, but if you just Google Liberty University Freedom Center, it's all their social media pages pop up, everything. So.
Yeah. But everybody, thank y'all so much. I just wanted to hop in. I really appreciate my guests, Alton Johnson, April Chapman, Joel, my own pastor, and of course, Kevin Briggins for popping through. And it means a lot that y'all jumped in to talk about this topic. And this is something hopefully a lot of us will, call your own church leadership and talk with them about it and see, is there something that we haven't planned in case this happens in your area and such of that nature. And of course, to keep the barbarians outside, but then also how do you actually engage in this conversation in a meaningful way that honors Christ and exalts the gospel and pushes the foolishness even further away? Like, we need to have those conversations. So we'll continue to do that. Kevin Briggins, I know you over at the Center for Biblical Unity, you all talk a lot about these things. Kevin is definitely dialed in. He's definitely MLK coded on this topic for sure. Go ahead real quick, man, and real quick, tell us why we need to follow you. Make sure the mods, if you could, make sure that all of Kevin's socials are in the chat.
Yeah, man, you can follow me on any social media platform, but I like to promote the Center for Biblical Unity, the overall ministry, because, what we do is we help Christians deal with social and cultural issues such as this from a biblical worldview, mainly dealing with race, justice, and unity. But it expands, the whole gambit, like immigration policy, the whole thing. Like how should Christians view this from a biblical perspective? Because the culture is the culture, right? The culture has been completely co-opted. It's completely corrupt, and they might use some of the same words, but they have completely different definitions for those words. Like love, marriage, justice, and so you have to understand what they mean when they say those words, and then what how the Bible defines those words. And if you do that, you'll really see the problem. So just check out the Center for Biblical Unity at centerforbiblicalunity.com. And if you want us to come out to your church, we can do all those type of things as well. So
hey Kev, you want a big screen moment to like address a question, a comment, and really, tee off on it?
Oh, sure. I don't know what it is, but
I know you're not ready. Here it comes. Jesus went into the synagogues and turned over tables. Jesus made the elite uncomfortable.
Oh my goodness. That is the problem. First of all, stop viewing everything through a Marxist lens. Everything is not about oppressors and the oppressed. It's not about places of power and all that. That is not what Jesus was doing, right? That was a particular issue Jesus was upset about, turning his father's house into a den of thieves, desecrating his father's house. That's what it was about. Stop trying to analogize everything to make it fit your new modern Marxist ideology. That is not what it is. That is not. And so, like this progressive leftists who think boys can be girls and who think two men can be married, they are not the people to roll with and compare to Jesus. So
say
stop.
that again. Say that.
They are not the ones to roll with to compare to Jesus. They are antichrist. So no, that's not what they're not being Christ-like when they do that. That is not what they're doing. They are being pagans who have co-opted Christ for their own purposes.
Come
As
on.
oh man, what was his name? James Baldwin, the gay atheist, as he said in the 1970s, he said, "We took Jesus and we made him ours." They redefined who Jesus was. And so the Jesus that you think you're following in this social justice thing is not the Jesus of Scripture. It is the Jesus of radical movements who hate God. And they have co-opted it for their own purposes. And so I would advise you to stop siding with these people because they're not Jesus. They're nothing like Jesus. And on the day he returns, they're going to find that out.
Boy, that's some good stuff right there. My man, Kevin, thank you so much, man.
Absolutely,
you are
man.
always welcome over here whenever you want to, even on MLK Day when you know.
I told you we were going to get in trouble today. I told you.
I'm out here going to go find my MLK Day eggs, man, or take down my MLK Day tree, whatever it is. You out here messing up people's theology. But, man, thank you so much for being faithful, Kevin. Thank you so much for your love for not only for the church, but for Christ, and wanting to make sure that he is placard and making sure that Christ is what the one that we put our hope and our faith in. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate my guests as well for that. Thank you to the almost 300 that were in the chat. By the way, I do want to say shout out to Willie Doc, my brother. I don't know why he didn't jump in. Willie Doc, shout out to him with the $5 super. Thank you for covering this. Opponents will say that there's no difference from the pastor going up in stillbirth. What do you say? God bless you all. You know what? I actually had that queued up. I was going to talk about that.
Yeah. And we all said, I don't know. Everybody I know said he shouldn't have done that.
I don't think he should have done that, but it's just funny. You have a pastor going into an assembly to preach the gospel, and then you have an assembly coming into a church to disrupt the gospel. That's some crazy work. That is some crazy work. I don't think the pastor, I'm a little bit conflicted. We've had this back and forth offline about the guy going into stillbirth. I don't know, man. I'm a little bit conflicted, but
he shouldn't have done it. It's plenty of ways to address Jamal Bryant without walking in that church and disrupting their service. It's just, you can address Jamal Bryant. He's a public figure.
Yeah, for sure. I got you. I'm a little conflicted, though. I was a little conflicted. I'm not conflicted about Mike being a new member. Shout out to you, sir. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Big Mike. And then thank you for the $2 here. Hey, guilty by association. We don't like lemons. We're not Team Lemon over here. Show enough. Y'all, thank y'all so much for rocking with us today.
Hey, but what do you do with lemons, though? What do you do with it? You put sugar in to make it sweet.
There's so many bad
Somebody's
jokes.
Somebody's going to catch on to that.
So many bad jokes are going to come out of this, man. It's going to be crazy. We're going to have to, man, there's so many bad jokes that come out of this. You make lemonade out of it. Look, you guys are crazy, man. Kevin, thank you so much. Thank you to the best live chat on the internet. If you don't mind, do me a favor, everybody. If you haven't already gone over to the Center for Biblical Unity and subscribe, please change that. Go in and do that. And do you want to push Off Code?
Yeah. Off Code is a podcast we do as part of the Center for Biblical Unity, where we address issues in the Black community, but from a biblical worldview. And so
please make sure you check out what Devin and Kevin do pretty much every Thursday.
Informed Takes.
In what I say?
You say Off Code.
I did say Off Code.
Yeah. Informed Takes.
Kevin's, you just all over the place, man. You like a media mogul, man. We got Informed Takes. We got Off Code. We got the Center for Biblical Unity. Kev is everywhere. If you like his beard, go check him out. Make sure you support that man so you can keep that beard nice and well groomed.
My military retirement beard. That's what this is. And so, So Informed Takes is a podcast where we talk about all things political and geopolitical. My background, I retired as a military intelligence analyst, so dealing with a lot of things in the world. And so I just kind of bring that expertise to talk about the broader picture of what's going on in the world, especially geopolitical and dealing with what is Russia doing, what is Iran doing, and just kind of understanding things. And we also bring a biblical perspective to a lot of that stuff.
I love it. Yeah. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Absolutely.
The mods have already linked your chat, your your info in the chat. I'll make sure also we put it in the description as well. It looks like somebody just literally posted the Department of Justice is they say they're investigating. I need some people arrested.
I mean,
So
that's just step one. They're going to
Yeah,
get
I just got a
arrested.
notification that the Department of Justice is investigating. So I'm not going to stop. We're going to go ahead and wrap the show up. As soon as I get a notification that they've arrested some people and some folk have taken that perp walk, then I'll come live again. But I don't need an investigation. I need arrestations. I need arrest todays. That's what I need. I need letters from a Minnesota jail. On MLK, in honor of MLK, I need letters from a Minnesota jail. That's what I need.
Oh man, that is hilarious. That's hilarious.
That was off the top of the dome. That's how you know that coffee was good today.
Yeah. And with that, ladies and gentlemen,
we're out of here. Make sure you hit the like button. Thank you so much for subscribing. I'm trying to hit 100,000. I really appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank you for the very kind super chats. Thank you to the moderators, everybody who was in this best live chat on the internet in the most electrifying comment section. I really, really appreciate all of y'all. So let's do this again real soon. I probably will be going live tonight talking about Candace. So stay tuned. Around 5 o'clock, I'll make sure the announcement goes out. Maybe Kev will come in. You know what I'm talking about, Candace?
Nah, I mean, I would love to. I gotta go teach at a youth camp this afternoon.
Man, you ain't got no youth camp, man.
I
Boy,
do, man.
come
I gotta go.
You don't
Matter
even know
of fact, as soon as
anybody.
I get off of here, I gotta go look over my lesson and my talk and get all that squared away. Yeah, I gotta teach a youth
Tell
camp.
them to stay away from candy.
That's the title of the lesson.
Stay away from candy. There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. Everybody, make sure you tip your waiters on the way out the door. Green hearts on the way out the chat. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a blessed rest of the day, and I'll see you real soon. Grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Whip Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.